Hello YouTubers, scrappers, electronics nerds, computer geeks, surplus lovers, all of you out there. This is another mail call video, and I think this video is going to cross several genres, and I think it's going to have a little something for everybody. So stay tuned and see what's in the box, because this is a strange mail call video. This is mail from me to me. Yes, I always get questioned when I do this when I'm traveling and I take a box to the post office. It has my name on the from and the name on the to, and they look at me funny and like, I don't live here. I'm just passing through and I want to make sure this box gets home, so I have my, my home address as the destination and the return address, but they always take it. So this box was mailed in Phoenix from me to me when I went to Phoenix a few weeks back to get to Apache Reclamation before they closed the store down. It's very sad. Apache Reclamation and Electronics is no more by now. They were shutting the store down. I have shopped there many times for many years. Love that store. I'll put a link in the upper right here to my trip to Apache Surplus, so you can watch that video if you haven't already seen it. There's something there for everybody. Like I said, computer geeks, electronics enthusiasts, surplus lovers, scrappers, it's all there. It was all there anyway. But the good news is the same family who runs that store, even though they're retiring and shutting it down, they moved their excess inventory to their store in Albuquerque. And I have a video about Surplus City in Albuquerque, which the same family runs, so I'll put a link to that up at the top. Alright, so let's get into this box. I had to be very judicious in my shopping. I had flown to Phoenix. If I had driven out west like I do normally, I could have took my big truck with me and I could have just filled it with stuff. But unfortunately, I just flew out there. I went from the airport, took an Uber straight to Apache Reclamation, and only had a couple of hours to shop, and then I had to skedaddle out of there. So I had to be very judicious. I couldn't buy a lot of stuff to scrap, unfortunately. If I had the truck with me, I could have bought tons of stuff cheap to scrap and probably made an amazing profit on the gold and precious metals in it. But I basically just stuck to shopping for stuff for my hobbies, my other hobbies. So things like retro computing, electronics, whatnot. So that's what's in here. And they were very nice people there. They gave me an amazing deal on everything I bought. They just, put it all in one basket and just gave me a number. And I said, yeah, that's a great number. I'll pay that. Can I go get some more at that price? They said, sure, go get some more. I bring my basket back up and I said, okay, how much do I owe you now? And they gave me the same number again. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I just added to this. It's, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So amazing. They gave me the box to pack it in, because I told them I'd flown into town and I had to fly out again. They gave me the packing peanuts. They gave me the bubble wrap, and they let me use their tape gun because they were packing stuff up right and left there. So they had all this packing material laying around, and they just, go right at you, use it, not a problem. So there's a fair amount of stuff in this small box. Let me get it unpacked and sort it out, and then we'll go over it and see what I got. Okay, so here we go, all unpacked. Doesn't look like a lot of stuff. Like I said, I had to be very judicious in what I purchased. Had to fit in a flat rate box. And I wasn't going to juggle 2 or 3 boxes on the way to the post office before having to get back to the airport. So, just got this. I wish I could have took my truck and loaded it up, but this is a good deal, what I got here. We'll start with the big stuff first. I found these on a shelf. And I think I showed that in the video where I actually discovered these. Didn't know what they were at first, had to think about it. Oh, they're graphite molds for molding. Probably metal. I would assume metal. Don't know what they made with them. It's hard to say. The shape's a little odd. I don't really have any use for them as molds, but as ingots of graphite, they could be very useful. I could remachine them with my CNC router in there, and I could make my own ingot molds out of these. For when I'm melting gold and silver and other precious metals, I can make my own ingot molds. So that could be an interesting project. So I got some of these graphite molds. They're very dirty. It's just like a graphite pencil. Yeah, they get you dirty. Next, I got some Jones connectors. Jones connectors come in really handy. I have been using these. Well, I used them all through my career as an electronic engineer. We used them for, I liked them, we used them for a lot of stuff. I liked them for 6-wire ones for connecting up 6-wire stepper motors on machinery I design and build in my retirement, you know. I still build and design and build machinery. It's just a habit you can't get out of. So I found some Jones connectors. I found 3 matching pairs here. I would have liked to have gotten more, but that was all I could find out of the bins. The name of these doohickeys kind of escapes me. But they solder into a circuit board, and then you can attach wires to them. There's some sort of header. Okay, next, let's get into some of these IC chips I bought. These were all purchased for my hobbies, although some of them are gold, even gold legs. But they were purchased for my hobbies, not so much for scrapping out. So what do we got here? We got some old school Motorola 6800 microprocessors here. Now these are among the very first of the microprocessors that ever came out. So these are really old school, and I've been wanting to do something with the 6800 series microprocessors for a while. So it's great I found a few there. I also got 6802, which is a slightly improved and later version of the 6800. And I got some 6809s, which is again a later and more improved kind of version of the original 6800 architecture. And some of you older folks out there may remember the Tandy Color computer. This is the microprocessor that the Tandy Color computer was based on, the 6809. I used to love to go into Radio Shack when I was a kid and play with the color computers in there. I had written a program that would put oscillating, morphing colors on the screen, and it was very hypnotic. And I would always wander back towards the color computer display, quickly type this program in and run it and wander off, and people would walk by and they'd just be mesmerized by the image on the screen. I probably helped Radio Shack sell a lot of color computers doing that. I got some Z80 parallel I/O chips, Z80A parallel I/O chips. I needed some Z80A parallel I/O chips. I have a fair number of parallel I/O chips, but they're not the A version, so they can't run at the full 4 megahertz. So I found some of those. So these will be useful in one of my upcoming retro computing projects. I've started building a breadboard computer, and I need a PIO chip for it. So that's great. I found some of these. Let's see, what else have we got here? We've got some Motorola 6845 chips. Now these are peripheral chips that went with the 6800 and the 6802 and the 6809. In fact, these kind of peripheral chips here were used with lots of different microprocessors. I mean, computers based on Z80s and 8080s and 8085s and whatnot use these. This is a CRT controller. This is what would put the graphics and the alphanumerics out to a CRT screen. So that's going to be very useful in retro computing as well. And then over here, we've got some 6821s. Again, these are peripherals in the 6800 family. And these are parallel I/O peripherals right here. So again, very useful in retro computing. These will probably show up in some of my future retro computing projects. Down here we've got some dip switches and some LED bar graphs. I think I got their last two LED bar graphs. I was hoping to grab more. I actually have some dip switches already, so I only got 4, even though they had bins full of them. Just because I really don't need any more. I've already got quite a few, but I wanted some I wanted some brand spanking new ones. Most of the stuff I use in my projects is salvaged from e-waste, because that's my main hobby, is I process e-waste to extract precious metals. And most of my stuff comes from depopulating circuit boards, and I'll reuse a lot of that stuff in my projects rather than just scrapping it. So I have a lot of dip switches that I've pulled out of other boards, but sometimes they work, sometimes they don't after you do that. So I wanted some that I knew were absolutely reliable, so I got some. Got some 7.4 LS series IC chips down here. And I was looking for some 7.4 LS 541 chips. So, oh, there's a whole bin of them there, so I grabbed a bunch. And then I was looking for another type of chip, and I think I grabbed these by mistake. I don't really think I meant to get these. These are the 7.4 LS 569. I'm like, when I'm unpacking, I'm like, why do I have a bunch of 569s? I really didn't want 569s. I wanted something else, but I must have just been grabbing out of the wrong bin because I was in a hurry. But you know, these are useful chips too. They'll probably wind up in a project at some point. They're, you know, 4-bit binary up-down counters with preload. They'll come in handy for something, I'm sure. EEPROMs. I got some old school low density EEPROMs. These are 2716s here. These are 2732s. Brand spanking new. You can't get these anymore, you know, unless you get them out of old equipment or find them on the surplus market. But they're really great for retro computing because a lot of the old computers, they used EEPROMs of this size. And then a little more modern, we've got EEPROMs here, electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. So I got a bunch of EEPROMs as well in various densities that I can use with my retro computing projects. In fact, I've got one going on right now. I just put out a video to it, and I'll put a link in the upper right to that video, where I'm using EEPROMs in an old school computer to try and revive it and get it up and running again, writing my own firmware and plugging the EEPROM into the EEPROM socket and getting it up and running again. And so far it's working. It's a really good project. And then down here, crystal oscillators of various frequencies that are going to be useful for my retro computing projects. So I grabbed a variety of different frequencies, one or two of each. And then up here, we've got some 64-pin dual inline sockets. These are going to come in handy when I start experimenting with the Motorola 68000 series of microprocessors. Now these over here are the 6800 series. These are 8-bit microprocessors in a 40-pin dual inline package. But the 68000 series is a 16-bit microprocessor in a 64-pin dual inline package. So I got some 64-pin IC sockets. They'll come in handy in the future. And then I also got some gold-plated right-angle headers down here. Didn't get them for the gold again, although they look like they've got really heavy gold plating on them, really heavy old-school gold plating. That's like the thin stuff of today. But I do have a project in mind that's going to require some right-angle headers, so that's why I bought them. So that's the sum total of everything I got on this last visit to Apache Reclamation. Very sad to see them going out of business. Great people, great family that runs that business. But it was just time for them to retire, and they weren't doing the kind of business that they wanted to do in Phoenix anymore. So they have the other store in Albuquerque, and again, I have a video on the Albuquerque store too. I'll put that at the end of the video as well as the link earlier on. So watch that if you like. So they're going to be moving a lot of their excess inventory over to the Albuquerque store and staying in business, fortunately. Who doesn't like a little bit of electronic surplus, right? And I know somebody's going to ask in the comments how much I paid for all this if I don't remember to put it in. So, grand total for all this stuff, $40, cash and carry. Not a bad price at all. Some of these chips back here, they were marked individually, $6-7, and that was a fair price for them. So yeah, $40 for all this was a steal. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you found this video at least a little bit interesting. Give this video a thumbs up if you like, and subscribe to see future videos. There'll be more videos in my electronic surplus store series. They're not all closed. There's a couple others I know of that are open that I want to visit. It may be a while before I can get there. Been doing a lot of traveling. I need to stay home for a while. But there will be more videos in that series, and there'll be more videos on the usual subjects like gold recovery from electronic scrap and electronic waste, retro computing, and other things. So subscribe to see those future videos. Press the little bell icon that YouTube makes you press to see when to be notified when new videos come out. And thanks again for watching. Have a good one. Bye.